And if I'm not mistaken, I think that that Tiny Toons was produced by Steven Spielberg. So how
Mhm.
was it to work with him or be picked by him?
Well, so, we talked prior to recording this. We were just
Mhm.
kind of introducing ourselves. And I said that lockdown's been very hard on me. And it's because I'm off. Like I'm an odd duck, and I always have been. So I went to my callback for Tiny Toons because in those days, in the 80s, you auditioned at your agent's office and there were no recording booths. I went into a closet where they had a reel to reel tape and a microphone. That was before cassettes. And I mean, digital tapes, and it all was going from there. But I remember auditioning and getting called back in, and I thought, oh my gosh. So I went to Hanna Barbera, I think, for which is where I met Steven Spielberg. I know I went there for one of the callbacks, but I went to a studio, um, and when you walked into this studio, the recording studio, you walked in without seeing who was in the booth. And
Right.
the only person you could really see was the voice casting director who would eventually voice direct, which was Andrea Romano, who I adore. And she was just, we didn't know each other, and I was kind of a new entity on the scene. And she said, did you bring a children's story to read? And I said, I did. I brought the Three Little Pigs, then the Big Bad Wolf. And I made the three pigs suicidal and the wolf kosher, so he couldn't eat pork. And I told the story. And then but it was like it was like a really little kid's book with like thick, almost wooden cardboard pages. And I did this. And they said, slate your name and go. And I said, Candi Milo reading the Three Little Pigs. And I read it and I finished, and I had done, each of the pigs had a different voice. I named them. One was Clarence. I will remember this till the day I die. The wolf was named Morty. And I did this in the three pigs. I improv the whole thing. And then there was silence. And I finished, and it was as if I was in like a fugue state. And I just stopped, and there was nothing. And I remember looking into the booth and saying, am I done? And they were like, yes, you're done. So I had done all my auditions, and I had auditioned for Fifi LePew, for Shirley Loon, and for Sweetie. And so as I walked out, Steven Spielberg came out of the booth area to stop me. And he said, you should do this. You are very talented at this.
Wow.
And I said, do people tell you you look like Steven Spielberg? And he said, every day, and walk back in. And I was like, oh my God. Um, First of all, I'm an idiot. But I do that when I get nervous. And that was it. And I didn't need, and still don't need, like 30 years, 35 years later. I don't need anything else. I
Mm.
don't need anybody to tell me anything else. I don't need permission from anybody. A man that I adore and respect, and I think is one of the most gifted content creators ever. He's like your guys' Lin-Manuel Miranda. He is that level for me. He is my generation's version of that. I don't need any other permission. He told me I should be doing this and that I was very talented. And so I have been.
And was that like the ultimate confirmation for you that this is the path you wanted to do? Like,
yeah. And I was still nervous. I'm not gonna lie to you, John. I was really nervous walking in because I still had my prejudices. I still hadn't met the cast. And I was like, I had this in my mind because I had not been in a recording room with them yet. We had not done this. And I was like, okay, if he says I should do this and Andrea Romano thinks I should do this, I should do this. And so I went to the first recording. And like I said, there were some freaks and weirdos there. And then there's Rob Paulson and Tress MacNeille and Cree Summer and Rob Paulson. And we're sitting in rows like class. And it was the most spectacular thing that had ever happened. And that's when I looked at Frank Welker, who was helping me separate my pages so that I could move from page to page without making any noise. And he would do this because I didn't understand anything. And we were wearing headphones, and do this and be quiet. And at the end, he was like, "You did good, kid." And I said, "I feel like I'm home. I feel like this." After the first episode, I felt like I was home, and I wanted to do more of it and discover whatever other voices I could do, and try to break in with other casting people, in Los Angeles.
And
other cartoon casting people.